Hello, I'm Santino.
And I'm Cristiano.
And this is the Marinelli Brothers Podcast. On today's episode, we will be reading a section from a book called What Were the Twin Towers by Jim O'Connor. And the Twin Towers are basically a tower. There were two towers for trading.
Yes. One had the commodities, the Chicago Commodities Exchange under it.
And Cristiano's favorite film was filmed in there called...
Yes, and the other one had an electronic trading floor. And there was a bunch of offices above that. It was basically the economic power of America.
But in 2001, a team called Quada hijacked four planes, two of them crashing into both towers of the World Trade Center. That was what it was called, but it was also known as the Twin Towers. So I'm going to actually be reading about 9/11. It's the 9th chapter, so here we go. 9/11, chapter 9. September 11, 2001 was a day that changed not only the United States, but the entire world. The second the attack was different from the 1993 bombing.
Not many people know this, but there was a van bombing in 1993.
Yeah, and it's actually going to explain a bit of that right now. That was carried out by a small group of terrorists with two men driving an explosive-filled van into the North Towers parking lot. The 9/11 attacks involved 19 men who split into 4 teams. Together, they hijacked 4 jets and turned them into giant bombs. The attack was well-planned and accomplished almost everything Quada set out to do.
And by well-accomplished, it means they accomplished what they wanted to do evil things.
Bin Laden, who was the leader of this terrorist attack, approved a plan to hijack passenger jets and fly them into buildings that symbolize the United States. In New York, the targets were
the Twin Towers.
In Washington, D.C., the targets were
the Pentagon,
which is headquarters for the U.S. military, and possibly either the White House or the Capitol building where the
Senate and House of Representatives meet.
But that plane never got to its final destination.
It will explain in a minute.
Osama bin Laden selected 4 men to move to the United States and learn to fly passenger planes. They were not part of the learning how to land the planes because they would be crashing them into the buildings. Other men in Quada were trained to take over the crew and keep control of the passengers so that the hijackers could fly the planes to their targets. 4 flights were chosen. Each was leaving the East Coast for California. All the targeted buildings were on the East Coast, so the planes would not be in the air for long. They would be almost completely full of fuel when they crashed. More fuel meant a big explosion and more damage. So, Christian, do you have any questions so far?
I don't have any questions, but if you, the viewers, have any questions, please leave it in the comment section below.
And I might do a read your comments video. Actually, we will. And we'll try and answer your questions if we have time. Let's continue. American Airlines Flight 11 flew out of Boston's Logan Airport at 7:59. Not Logan Paul. About 47 minutes later, it reached its target. People near the Twin Towers heard the roar of a low-flying jet. It was traveling at 44 miles per hour and went straight into the North Tower. It hit the building, instantly killing everyone on board, 92 passengers and crew, as well as the 5 hijackers. United Airlines Flight 175 left Logan Airport at 8:14 a.m. At 9:03, it hit floors 78 through 87 in the South Tower. It carried 56 passengers and crew, and of course the 5 hijackers. A third plane, American Airlines Airlines Flight 77 with 64 people, passengers plus crew, and the 5 hijackers on board took off from Washington's Dulles International Airport at 8:20 p.m. It slammed into the Pentagon building outside of Washington, D.C., killing 125 workers as well as the 64 people on board. The fourth plane, United Airlines Flight 93, took off from Newark International Airport at 8:42 a.m. Soon after the terrorists seized control of the jets, passengers on Flight 93 heard on their cell phones about the other 3 hijacked. They knew what was going to happen and decided to fight back. Soon, some rushed to the cockpit to overpower the hijacker flying the plane, but he crashed into a field in central Pennsylvania. The 40 passengers and crew, as well as 4 hijackers, were killed. That plane had possibly been heading to Washington, D.C., but because of the brave passengers, it never reached its target. As news broke out about the crash to the North Tower, many thought it was just an accident. For example, people thought that, maybe it ran out of fuel, it burned the engine, and was trying to land. Who knows? But after the second plane hit the South Tower, it became clear that they were under attack. That's when first responders, rescue teams began arriving. There were police, firefighters, and ambulance crews. They rushed into the buildings to save trapped workers and give first aid. By this time, most office workers inside the towers had gone out. The best guess is that between 8,000 and 12,000 escaped. However, almost everyone on the floors above the points of impact were trapped. Fortunately, one staircase did remain open in the South Tower, and because of that, 18 people who were above the 87th floor did escape. As for people on lower floors, some who could have gone out more easily didn't. They stayed at their desk, often after being told it was safer inside than out on the streets. This was terrible advice. Of course, no one realized that the Twin Towers would collapse or how soon it would happen. At 9:59 a.m., the South Tower fell, killing everyone inside and sending a let's just say a big cloud of dust and debris into the air. Less than half an hour later, at 10:28, the North Tower collapsed. 2,606 innocent people had died. In all, 2,977 victims died on September 11, 2001. The 19 hijackers also died. Well, that was the section from What Were the Twin Towers. Feel free to buy it and read the entire story. This includes what they were during the construction and what happened when they moved in and stuff that actually happened. And it also will talk about many other things, like, as I said, the construction of the towers. There was this thing called Daredevils. It's about people who, well, I'm not going to spoil. You better get the book and see what happens. So, that's all I have to say, and it looks like Cristiano's gone. So, thank you for tuning in. I'm Santino, and, of course, Cristiano of the Marinelli Brothers podcast. Good day to everyone, and have a